Good morning. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And here's Charlie with the announcements.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back from break. Today is Tuesday, January 6th, and it is a green day. Just a reminder, green days are the 1, 3, 5 on your schedule, and white days are 2, 4. As a reminder, the alumni gym and field house areas will be closed to free block students during the school day. If you need a workout or some stress relief, please see Ms. Higgs or front desk staff. The weight and cardio room are available most days, or we will find you a space. Any student interested in competing in the Rotary Speech Contest, a 5-minute public speaking competition with cash prizes, should reach out to Ms. Hibbert this week for topic and guidelines. You can email her at andrew.hibbert@stjacademy.org or find her in Ranger 210. Happy birthday today to Sam Dunn and Sam Jewell. Happy birthday. Today for sports, we have JV and varsity girls basketball at CVU at 5:30 and 7. Please dismiss the teams at 2:30. And a wrestling match home versus Essex, CVU North Country at 6. And then for weather, we have tomorrow it's going to snow. Today, I think it's going to snow. Thursday, it's going to snow. And then Friday, it's going to rain and it's going to heat up. And all week is going to be like mid-20s to mid-30s. That's it. Have a good day.
Okay, so I'd like to give you all a moment to look at your schedules, and then when you're done looking at your schedules, put them down, because there's a flutter. So take a minute, look at your schedules. Okay, if you're talking, you're not looking at your schedule. All right, are we good? Now put them down. Awesome, thank you. Congratulations to Jason Zhang, whose American Mathematics competition score qualified him to take the American Invitational Mathematics examination on Thursday, February 5th. Best of luck, Jason. Nice work. So welcome back, everybody. I'm so delighted to be back with you this morning on this first day of what we, for some reason, call spring semester. I hope you all found some holiday on the holiday break, enough that you're ready and even excited to be back today. Some of you are new to St. Johnsbury Academy. A good many of you have arrived from different places around the world and around Vermont. China, Mexico, South Korea, Japan, Austria, and some from closer by. You're starting your time at St. Johnsbury Academy today. Wherever you've come from, new students, we're so happy that you have decided to become part of this community, and we're eager to make sure that you feel welcome here. You've met some great people already, and today you'll meet your teachers and more of your classmates. Returning students, if you are in a class or advisory or activity with one of our 12 new spring term students, please reach out and welcome them and make sure that they know that they're at home here. Seniors, this is the first chapel of your last semester at St. Johnsbury Academy. And I want to suggest something to those of you who might feel like you have something to say before you go. I hope that you will consider in this last semester of your high school career giving us the gift of a chapel talk. I know at least some of you wrote chapel talks in our 9th grade seminar class because I made you do it, so you already have some sense of what it's like to share in this way. It's a very special thing, and it's something that you might remember for the rest of your life. I gave my first chapel talk in high school. I was a senior, and I decided I had some things to say. My talk was scheduled for April of my senior spring, and as soon as I knew that, I began thinking about it all the time. So I grew up in a small town in Massachusetts, and by the time I was 16, my father's modest pharmacy had done well enough that he and my mom decided to go in on a small timeshare apartment on an island in Florida for the month of March. I would never have imagined that it would be problematic for me to describe the location of this island as being on the Gulf of Mexico, but that's probably a topic for another time. Anyway, this island on the west coast of Florida seemed to me to be made of magic. I would eagerly join my parents for the 2 weeks of my high school's March break and spend my time there reading and picking up shells and trying to soak in every possible ray of sunlight before coming back to New England. We ate lots of fish and we rode bikes with baskets under the palm trees and the live oaks. There was a nature preserve with mangrove keys and water birds and alligators and even the occasional bobcat or Florida panther where we went kayaking. It was without question the most luxurious and charmed 2 weeks of every year. But in my senior year, I spent most of those 2 weeks fretting about my upcoming chapel talk and getting more and more nervous about it. What did I want to say to my intimidatingly cool peers and teachers? Somehow managing to be brilliant and funny and deep and not too cool but not too intense. All these questions were outside of what I might actually be saying because I didn't have a topic. And by now my talk was only about a month away. It's not that I wasn't writing. I was writing constantly. I wrote poetry, and I wrote descriptions of what I was seeing around me. I wrote odes to sunsets reflected in tide pools and rhapsodies on shells. I was writing about the people by the pool who were fascinating in their various states of alarming undress, and who always seemed to be losing track of the children and elderly relatives that they were in charge of. So one energetic mother in a brown bikini, I will never forget, she never once sat down, and she called all day for Mimi and Momo, one of whom was a little girl in floaties, I think, and the other was her slightly deaf grandmother. I'm not sure which was which, but it was hilarious. So I sat on the weathered wooden benches and wrote about all of this, trying to get myself to say what I wanted to say about that deep and interesting thing that continued to refuse to occur to me. In this beautiful place with roseate spoonbills and great egrets and ibises and natural beauty everywhere, there had to be something, there had to be some way that I could respond brilliantly with some wisdom that would be, let's be honest, impress Frank Benevento, who played baseball. I was determined to get this right. But as it got to the end of my 2 weeks, I still had just a jumble of descriptions and uninspiring ideas and nothing even close to a chapel talk. And now it was only 2 weeks away. My father and I began the long drive back to Massachusetts, and after the first day, we were still in Florida, and we stopped at a very uninspiring motel for the night. I went for a walk just after dark. I found a sort of oily canal in the back of the place with a concrete wall on one side and a wall of overgrown mangroves on the other side. So mangroves, if you don't know, they're woody sea plants that grow in flats and wetlands. And their roots are visible above the water like these kind of spidery piers. They're very common all over Florida. And at the edges of mangroves are shadows where fish like to rest, where shorebirds like to fish, because the fish are resting there. So I was walking along this canal, sort of sulking, and comparing this scenery to my more beautiful recent surroundings, when a little bright white cattle egret flip-flapped onto the mangroves opposite me and settled there. I stopped and watched it with that kind of emotion and attention that's reserved for when you're face-to-face with wild animals. It's almost not breathing, excited by being in the presence of something so real and yet so alien, so familiar but also suddenly strange. The canal was lit by these faint path lights that glinted off the water, and I noticed that there was a quick movement not far from the bird. It was a gentle break in the surface, but low and dark and silent. I had a primal sense that this was concerning. It makes all the sense in the world that we've evolved to be alarmed by a low, dark, bumpy, silent thing suddenly emerging from dark water anywhere nearby us. I'm trying to imagine a situation where that would be good news. Dolphins, whales, fish, seals, other non-threatening creatures tend to burst out of the water in a flash, usually pretty joyfully or good-naturedly. But of course, the alligator and the crocodile are neither fish nor mammal. They are reptilian. They are beasts from the beginning of time, and they're not playing. They're not afraid of you. But it was just a moment after I noticed it when this quite large alligator did burst from the water. Not in a playful way, but with a purposeful whoosh, a fleshy, toothy, writhing event ending in a snap of incredible accuracy at that little egret. It caught the bird, it shook its jaws, and then it slapped back into the canal and dragged the bird under so quickly, so efficiently, it only left fretful water and then waves smacking at the water's edge. I don't know why this became the thing I felt I needed to tell Frank Benevento and my entire school. I don't know why I didn't talk about the fear and the disgust and the appalling nature of that moment, but focused instead on the clarity, the kind of absence that's literally breathtaking. It was, I decided, a form of love. It was awe, which is next door to love. It was the kind of fear that reminds you that you're alive, and that you're in the world and it's not without danger, and that we have to try as much as we can to be present for and love our existence and the world around us while we have the chance. This was what I wanted to say then, and it turns out it's still what I want to say now to anyone who will listen, that our job as people is to go on trying to find those moments that take our breath away, those moments that make things clear, the strangeness and power of the world, to remember our deep love of it, and go on remembering that again and again until we don't forget. So seniors, giving a chapel talk can be habit-forming, obviously, but there is still time to offer one this spring, and I highly recommend it, even though it's been more than 25 years since I gave that first talk. I have no idea if Frank Benevento remembers it or remembers me. But I do know that it meant something to many of the people who heard it, and it had a profound effect on my own life. In the meantime, let's remember and keep remembering it's going to be a great last semester for you seniors and a great semester for us all. Let's get to it. Stay warm, everyone, and welcome back.